Is Britain the biblical Tarshish? Is there even one shred of evidence saying so? Well, let's test this, and Britain's claims will quickly unravel. Watch how easily. Welcome to 100 Clues. The Philippines is the ancient land of gold known as Ophir in the Bible and history. No, it's no fable, and this has already been proven in full in the God Culture Solomon's Gold series. At the request of many viewers, we pulled out 100 compelling clues, really proofs or evidences, from this research in which we will highlight briefs of the most compelling points. And yes, there are over 100. These videos are for those who have not had time to watch Solomon's Gold series and easy to share to friends and family, especially skeptics. This brief video cannot replace that 50 video series nor prove the way that it does. But this will be very effective nonetheless. So go there for full evidence. But now, part 31 of our series, 100 Clues, the Philippines is Ophir, one clue at a time. A little review and then some meat that crushes this false paradigm. In part 30 and before even, we have already proven Tarshish is Ophir, or at least in the exact same region. In fact, the Philippines. And that is a massive issue for Britain, as it is on the other side of the earth. See, Solomon's navy went to Ophir and Tarshish. Even the Brits knew they headed east. Now we'll show you that in the next video. However, this was the same trip, not two different ones. You don't build a navy on the Red Sea to go around Africa in order to get to Spain or Britain, which you already have trade routes established with your Mediterranean navy. It just doesn't make sense. Nonsense. And any scholar worth their weight would know better and say better, really. They are equated as the biblical land of gold and silver. This is so extremely well supported in Scripture alone. To claim Britain is really to offer illiterate, biblical, and really historical acumen. Tarshish is equated to Ophir, Sheba, and Seba, and we'll get to Sheba and Seba soon. They are all the same place, the same region, really the same archipelago. So, Sheba is the Sheba who is brother of Ophir. That's where the Queen of Sheba descended from. Remember, Sheba's 1,200 years after Ophir, Sheba, and Havilah migrated to Sephar, a mount of the east, which is also known as Havilah, which is also known as the Garden of Eden, which is all in the Philippines. Now, we proved this all out in much detail in Solomon's Gold series. We've already gotten a lot of this proven out and laid down, even in this series so far. So, that's where Sheba came from, and we're going to cover that in detail. And we'll show you all of the evidence. Anyone impatient on that, go watch parts 2 and 2b of Solomon's Gold series. We already covered the Greeks recorded this in history, and mapped it even. Their source of gold, Christ, they called it the Isle of Christ, is Ophir, even according to Josephus and others. And for silver, Argyle, the biblical Tarshish. We showed this map before from Pomponius Mela in 43 AD, which shows the Greek route to Ophir and Tarshish, in Greek known as Christ and Argyle. And maybe my directions are a bit off, but I'm pretty sure Britain is not located in the Far East. Beyond India, beyond China. How about that? In fact, we just added the map to the right, and again you can see Ophir is southeast of Cirrus, which is the Latin for China. No, not Taiwan, which is an isle, not isles, which it would have to be in order to satisfy all of the passages. in Scripture. And Taiwan is missing 3 of the 4 resources of Tarshish, according to their own government, and has no history compared to the massive overwhelming amount from the Philippines. Argyre, or Tarshish, is an isle northeast of Sumatra. I think that means it's not Sumatra, the British territory they try to force into the narrative as well, nor the mainland, which is not an isle. I know, that's really hard for the British to understand. And it not only fits Mindanao in direction, but in resources. Even Borneo is on the same plane east of Sumatra, but not northeast, which would be Mindanao. And oh yeah, Indonesia is in Ham's territory, not Shem's. And Ophir, Sheba, and Tarshish went to ancient Havilah and the Garden of Eden in Shem's territory on his eastern border, above Gunung Gunung Api, or all the mountains of fire, in Indonesia, and cannot be in Ham's territory. Does not fit. Tarshish enters the picture as the ships are used to go there. Thus, he received a portion of that land. Ophir, nor Sheba, could have given him a portion of Ham's territory. No, as they are from Shem, and their inheritance was in Shem's territory. So really, understanding biblical geography really kind of boxes us in pretty well, and that becomes very accurate. Again, just as defined clearly by the Greeks and Josephus, these isles of gold and silver continue to appear in Scripture, entrenching this firmly as they are in the same place, and Britain would have to be both, which it cannot prove as it is in the wrong direction, and is not the ancient land of gold and silver. Not for the Hebrews, yes, for Rome, but Rome came far later. We're talking about 1000 BC here. The Hebrews went to Ophir and Tarshish in the far east, in the opposite direction. It just doesn't work for Britain. In fact, Tarshish and Ophir must be east of the Red Sea, but also east of Mesha, or Mashhad, Iran. Last we checked, Britain did not move, even if you try to apply the fraudulent Pangea, which happened long before. Anyway, so it doesn't work. Didn't move into the Far East. Ever. Doesn't work. Britain, too, is not in Shem's territory, but in Japheth's. We'll show you. It must be in the same region as Ophir, not the other side of the world. It doesn't work. It also is identified as the bird of prey, the Philippine eagle being the strongest and largest of such, not the lion of Britain, nor the fictional occult double-headed phoenix, which has defined some of their ruling elite bloodlines. Doesn't work. The trip from the Red Sea was a 3-year round-trip journey. We've already proven that out. Beyond the Arabian Sea, or the Indian Ocean in modern terms, to a multitude of islands. That's not Britain. Wrong direction. We also corrected the journey of Jonah per Scripture, and even the ship of Tarshish that Jonah boarded was headed into the Indian Ocean. Anyone saying otherwise is calling the Bible wrong, really, if you really read the verse, and don't try to inject things that just aren't there. We either believe it or we do not. We'll go with the Bible over the doctrines and poor interpretations of men any day, which is why we tell you all the time, test everything, even what we teach, everything. Know it, prove it for yourself. And this is one of the biggest things which proves Britain cannot be Tarshish, period, as it does not have the resources of Ophir and Tarshish, and it has to natively. Yes, it certainly is resource rich. We certainly will give them credit for that. But it does not fit the Bible. It is not only not east of the Red Sea, nor Iran, but west in the wrong direction. It has no indigenous peacocks. And no, the ones they brought from India and introduced 2,000 years after Solomon's era do not count. It also must have red sandalwood, which we will cover soon, the biblical almug wood from Ophir and Tarshish, used to build the temple, especially the pillars, which were made of red sandalwood. And also portions of other things, harps, psalteries, different things. But anyway, among other uses in Israel, Britain is just a big fail here. Absolutely. There's no way to force it. There's no way to fit it. It doesn't work in any sense. Yes, it has some resources, sure, but it must have all to fit, or throw it out. Britain, sorry, you're out. But let's not pretend the British did not know this. Next, we'll cover their arguments in which they lost to Spain on Ophir and Tarshish. Spain really, truly wiped the floor with them. And no one on earth is in agreement with Britain, other than Britain, who muddied the waters and really tried to take this into so many directions. Because not only do the British find this in Malaysia, they found it in Peru, they found it here, they found it there, they found it everywhere. Oh wow, they found it in Ham's territory. Oh no, they found it in Japheth's territory. No, they find these things all over the earth. In fact, everything is Ophir. Ophir is everywhere. So there you go. There it is. Britain is a big fail. No way to get around that. So no, Spain lost the war though, and the narrative of the victor, fraudulent and disproven as it may be, reigns in textbooks and seminaries and different commentaries, even to this day. But they're nonsense. We are going to dig into that next in more detail. But here's one perfect example that says, no, Britain has no right to make such a claim, and they know better. They knew better anyway. Perhaps they have amnesia, even though they've been causing the rest of the world to have amnesia on this topic, as being Tarshish, meaning it also has to be Ophir, and that is a crucial point. They well knew they were not. In 1801, Britain renamed a mountain in Malaysia, its territory in the Far East. Remember, they had no part of the actual Ophir and Tarshish in the Philippines, but this was their way of muddying the waters, of course, almost 300 years after Spain had already found Ophir and Tarshish and proved it. And the British never disproved that, ever. Look it up, look at their arguments, and none of them hold water. None of them. And again, in the next video, we'll cover some. In fact, the local Malaysians called this mountain Gunung Lidang, not Mount Ophir. And even today, in the local tongue, it remains Gunung Lidang. In fact, Gunung Lidang National Park, not Mount Ophir. That is a British concoction in 1801, with zero history to support their claim other than they're making stuff up. They have nothing. They never had an argument, and you'll see next. Regardless, if Britain is naming Ophir in the Far East and Tarshish, we have proven from Scripture, must be in the same area, then the British are actually admitting they are not Ophir nor Tarshish in their own false claims. So, how about that? See, they prove themselves wrong, and many times lies do exactly that. Oh yeah, and notice something else. This part of Malaysia is part of the mainland of Asia. It is not even an island, and the British should just try reading the Bible, which is clear that Tarshish is an island, a part of isles. Oops, good work, Britain. And there are those that say the British actually proved Spain wrong. That is a claim that's out there too. Absolutely amazing, because they never do. Remember, Tarshish is the son of Javan from Japheth, who inherited Greece. No, not China, and certainly not Great Britain. he had ships to go to his Greek isles, and that is why he was employed or really partnered with Ophir and Sheba to take them from Iran, where they lived at the time, about the time of the Tower of Babel. And then the Great Dispersion happened, and Ophir and Sheba and Havilah, and perhaps some of their other brothers, went to the Philippines, so far, a mount of the east. We've proven that in previous videos, so go back and watch. So, who in Japheth's family inherited the British Isles, if it wasn't Tarshish? Well, this is really no mystery. This mapping we are showing is fully proven, by the way, and mapped out in parts 3 and 4 of our flood series. You can check that out. Turn by turn, all the directions in the book of Jubilees, or the book of times and seasons, also known as the book of divisions. No, not that kind of division. Some people actually make a claim that, oh, division, that's evil. No, Noah divided the earth between his 3 sons. In fact, it is so brilliant in its mapping of the earth in at least 150 BC. Though this mapping actually proves, when you look at these lost dead place names in some cases, which are so well described, it's easy to know where they are, but the name is lost to history. They are far more ancient. We also have a video testing the Book of Jubilees. You can check that out. If you have not seen it, watch it. See for yourself and see whether you might consider Jubilees not only as history, which it most certainly is, dated 150 BC, but also, perhaps, even as Scripture. First, Japheth's son Meshach received the western portion of Europe. And the Bible tells us Gog of Magog will actually rule from there, and Tubal, which is Central Europe. That's something to check out, and we have a video on that too. But he did not initially inherit the British Isles. Let's see who did. Britain went to Japheth's son named Madai, but Madai did not like that area. A lot like Canaan, who stole Israel. Madai actually stole, whether he had permission or not is questionable in the references. Maybe he did. But he's out of his territory, thus suffers a curse. He took the land known as Media, or Medo-Persia, basically modern-day Kurdistan, and there is a lot of seedy history, especially when you look at just after the flood, especially this particular time of Joktan and his sons even. Again, that area did not belong to Japheth, and its history is not great in many eras. So Meshach, by default, received the British Isles because it's there in his or next to his territory. Now, we will cover this even more, but Japheth's British Isles cannot be in Shem's land. You can't do that. You can't move things that are Japheth into Shem, just like you can't move things that are Ham, such as the whole continent of Africa belongs to Ham. Therefore, nothing in history that belonged to Shem, such as Israel, such as Assyria, such as Babylon, such as any of those biblical territories where the Bible is very clear, especially when it says that Abraham went south into Egypt, and then he went north into Israel. They even try to flip the map upside down. It still doesn't work. So, now we will cover this even more, but Japheth's British Isles cannot be in Shem's land, nor are there anywhere near it. And Ophir and Tarshish are in Shem's land, in the far east, right where they should be, but on the other side of the world. Sorry, Britain. So, not even close, Britain. Get a real claim. This is likely the worst claim on record, really. And we know some scholars even teach this view, but they truly are ignorant of what Scripture says about Tarshish and ignore history as well, even British history. Why do they do this, though? Well, we will deal with this next and further expose the fraudulent argument of the British, which was disproved hundreds of years ago, really. But they did win the war with Spain. And wait till you see their expanded claim that Ophir was not even just Malaysia, but also Peru and some of the other places. It really becomes to such an outlandish, and then they start to bring the theories together and say, oh, well, Ophir was both Malaysia and Peru and India, and, it's all of those places, because Ophir is a route, it's not a place. Well, have you read the Bible, or do you just make up your own? So, as we keep saying, and supporting, over and over again, there is no debating the Philippines is the land of gold in all of history. It is time this knowledge be restored. For those about to comment in ignorance, yep, we always get them. We dare you to watch Solomon's Gold series by The God Culture, the original channel to prove the Philippines is in fact Ophir. Even here, we are breaking these into sound bites and clear points, but watch how all 100 clues tie together, and this series will blow you away. Thank you for watching 100 Clues. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the bell. Like us on our new Facebook, The God Culture space original. If you wish to skip ahead, no problem. Go to the God Culture YouTube channel and watch our Solomon's Gold series in English or Tagalog. There will be a link on the next screen. We can know this truth and be confident this belongs to the Philippines, and no one can disprove it, nor is there another coherent claim out there. We will deal with essentially all of them in this series. Until next time.